So it was a tough physical game. You guys were in the first half, but unfortunately they got away from you in the second half.
Yeah, I think I think anyone who watched the game identified probably that first 10 or even 5 minutes of the third quarter where maybe half-time killed a little bit of our momentum. We were able to get our noses in front after an ordinary first quarter as well. But I think the third quarter we were -6 in centre bounces, and they were able to win that territory battle and get the ball in. And yeah, and they put the score on the board. So you know, we're sort of ruining that first 10 minutes, and not that it cost us the game. It's, you know, it goes for 120, but it wasn't the ideal way to come out from the half-time break. We sort of grinded our way back into it, but I think the horse had already gone in that first little bit of the third quarter.
Yeah, what do you put those patches down to where they really got hold of you? Because they were in the first half as well. You guys were probably the better team for a lot of it, but they just went in clumps of 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, I think that's you know, that's still a new group, a young group coming together, is learning. You know, that's getting games. You've got to go through those experiences of learning how to dig your way out of, you know, 2, 3 goals in a row against you, and we're still learning that. You know, we're happy that, you know, we were still able to come back a little bit in the last quarter as well. You know, the way that it was trending, it could have got a bit ugly there. So you know, to come back, and yes, it's a loss, but the 26 points is probably, you know, reflective of our ability to slowly start to chip away and learn how to play those 120 minutes, which, you know, everyone's looking to do. And, you know, a seasoned team like Glenorchy are able to, you know, and they see those moments and they capitalise on them. You know, like, you know, Jay Bowden in the third quarter was able to go forward and put some scoreboard pressure on. And, yeah, so it's all that learning process. You know, it's good for us to be in those situations, because that's the only way we're going to get better, is to learn how to play in them. Yeah,
were you happy with how you guys moved the ball today? There were a couple of times where you really took the game on and it paid rewards, but there are a couple of times where you just sort of really struggled to penetrate 50, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I think the patches where we didn't look so good were when we were a little bit too shallow coming in. So I think both sides, whoever was winning that territory battle, you know, winning the ball at the source, but able to get it in a little bit deeper than around the 50-metre arc, sort of kicking the ball over like the extra number in defence, or just getting a bit deeper to try and reset and get a forward 50 stoppage. I think that's both teams looked really dangerous when they were able to play that way. So, you know, if we can win that a little bit more ball at the source and be able to do that and identify those areas of the ground where we don't want to turn the footy over in, which I think we did a pretty good job generally today. Yeah, but there were obviously a few occasions where, you know, we went a bit shallow and turned it over, and you're really, if you're doing that, you're really switching the ball for the opposition, or giving it to them in a dangerous space. And good teams with Glenorchy, with guys like Daniel Joseph behind the ball, who's a great user, they can cut you up on the slingshot as well, which I think we did a couple of times. They went coast to coast on us a couple of times, which is another area sort of we identify that we've got to try and get out of our game as well.
Yeah, return of Marcus Davies today. He played primarily in a pretty deep forward role. Were you happy with his influence? Yeah. So Marcus obviously coming back from that PCL injury, we just thought initially it's probably better for him to play a little bit more forward. It gives us a shape forward of the footy, but it also gives us some leadership and a defensive mindset. And I think, you know, we had probably our highest number of forward 50 tackles for the season today, and I think we had 82 tackles as well. So, you know, him and Mitch Carter, like, sometimes we've got to take a risk and put those guys forward and give some jobs to some younger guys so they can get a little bit of that on-the-job training as well. And I thought, you know, Marcus will present, Marcus will get the ball on the ground. He kicked a goal as well, but it also gives us some flexibility. You know, he won't play there every week. There'll be times as he starts to get some continuity in his footy and a bit of his conditioning back, where he'll be back behind the footy. He can go on ball on that as well. So yeah, just glad he got through, glad he got back. He's a really important player for our structure and our group as a whole. So yeah, really pleased that he got through. It's been a bit of a lean month and a half for you guys, but you'd be happy to be back on the winners list?
Yeah, it's good to win. And, you know, yesterday morning, one of the great servants of our club, Ken Silver, passed away. Now, I haven't been here long, but it didn't take me long to see how special he was. You know, I've been involved in State League footy for 21 years now, so I've come across a lot of great volunteers. And Ken was just one of those guys that no matter what needed doing, he would do it. And he would have 5 or 6 jobs on game day. He'd be here for the juniors first thing the next morning. You know, he'd be getting ice for the players' ice baths. One day our behind the goals camera wasn't working, so he went and grabbed his and filmed it while doing 5 other jobs. Like, Ken was just special. And he'd had a long battle with cancer, and we thought he was going pretty well, but he didn't let on. So we're pretty sad as a club, and I was just really pleased that we could put on a show that he would really enjoy today and get a win. And then, you know, from a footy side of it as well, you know, we needed to win. We knew the Tigers would approach this game kind of like a final, and we needed to match that approach. And we're pretty disappointed with our second quarter, and but the response after half time was fantastic. And you know, as a group, we just spoke to them about the fact that we have so many new players from a couple of years ago. We've really got to build our identity, and there was just some great stuff in that second half that they can really feed off. And the performance today isn't anywhere near where we need to be and where we want to be as the season goes on, but it is something to build on. So we're pleased about that.
Yeah. To build on, what were the things that you thought from today that you can build on? There were a lot of things you did well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we did well, both in terms of, you know, just getting back to executing the way we wanted to play, as we had been a little bit earlier in the year, and a couple of new things we've been working on. The guys executed well, but also just, I say the guys, like, footy, it's a great sport. We love footy because you can just make something happen. Players can inspire their teammates, and little things build into big things, and that's the character of teams is built on that basis. And I think we just had a number of moments today where players really stood tall, and that then builds momentum, and it impacts the next contest and the next contest after that. So it was just good to see some of our guys, you know, recognise those moments and seize those moments. As I said, though, we're not going to get carried away. We didn't play overly well today. Probably a little bit like in previous weeks where, you know, we can produce some of our best footy at times. What was pleasing today was we probably stood up taller in the moments where we weren't producing our best footy.
Yeah, there were quite a few little flashpoints across the ground, especially in the second half. And
yep.
You guys were the ones that took the game by the scruff of the neck. What did you think you did that allowed you guys to break the game open in that way? Because a lot of your goals came in short bursts where you just piled on 3 or 4 in a matter of 5 minutes. Yeah,
and again, I think what I spoke about there, the ability to build momentum through individual and selfless acts. And in the second half, they were there. That's footy. You know, there's all sorts of stuff that you can do around the edges, but it's the heart and the willingness to work is the building block of Australian rules footy.
Yeah, in the first half, it wasn't a game that you guys did have control over. Tigers fought pretty hard and had a lot of the ball, but I thought you guys kept in it by being pretty efficient whenever you went forwards. Whenever you went forward, one of those guys up there found a way to score. How did you rate the performance of your forward group today?
Oh, look, I thought it was really good to have Matty Joseph back there, or up forward. You know, he came to me during pre-season and just said, look, I'd like to try being a defender. And I thought it was a good idea because he sees the game well and he communicates well. And but, you know, it was one of those where we just felt like we weren't getting his best. And he's an important player for us. You know, 2 years ago he was the Joey in the premiership team. Now he's one of our more experienced players. And we said to him this week, we need you. And he really stepped up, produced a great performance for us. But again, for him, it's just something he's got to build on. You know, we need him as a genuine contributor week in, week out, and as a leader for our forward line. Jay Bowden in the second half, you know, he was pretty disappointed with his first half and really stood tall and got back to doing that, having the work rate that really inspires and helps teammates. And early in the season, I was just blown away by how hard he worked, and it was great to see in the second half today that came back as well. So look, the first half we started really well. We kicked the first 4. We had lots of other opportunities, and we probably didn't capitalise on those. So no, look, I just think, in answer to your question, like everything else, there's a lot to work on and improve on, but the building blocks were promising today.
Next week off to North Hobart Oval, you'll be keen to keep that momentum going?
Yeah, we have to. You know, you just have to, and yeah, they're a team who they're just going to get better as the year goes on, and they'll have their good days and their bad days because they are so young, and you know, we experience that to a lesser degree with our young group as well. Yeah, we just got to those building blocks, and I know I'm repeating myself a bit, but we have to roll them out again next week, and then roll them out the week after, and get better at them. You know, where we want to get to is a long way from where we're at now, but we've shown enough throughout this season so far that there is really good football within this team, and sometimes wins hide that, and sometimes losses hide it too. But it's there. We just got to get to the point where we bring it out as non-negotiable.